If you're on the hunt for a high-quality exhaust system that produces a great sound without a ton of volume for your 2024 and newer S650 GT, Borla has got you covered here with their S-Type catback. Now this is going to appeal to you if you want your car to make some more noise, but you aren't willing to sacrifice your eardrums or give an inch on quality. On our loudness meter, this one is going to get a very solid 3 out of 5. So if you're looking for outright volume, well, this probably isn't going to be your system. However, it is still going to provide you with that deep V8 rumble and an aggressive exhaust note, but it just won't be as obtrusive as some other choices. It is still going to provide you with that deep V8 rumble and an aggressive exhaust note, but it won't be as obtrusive as some other systems, and that makes it a great choice for a daily driver. Quick note on fitment here before we dive in. This is designed to fit all 2024 and newer Mustang GTs that are not equipped with the factory active exhaust. However, it is worth noting that because this is a quad tip setup, you are going to need an additional piece in order to get this fitted. You're going to need the quad tip rear valance, which we'll cover a little bit more as we get into the video. If you're not familiar with their lineup, Borla offers different exhaust systems that vary in the type and volume of sound that they make. What we have here today is the middle child, the S-Type. Now, as you heard from the clips, it sounds pretty good without being too obnoxious. It still has that characteristic Coyote V8 sound. It's very deep and very characterful, but it's got that little bit of raspiness up at the top end, which we all like about this engine. There's even some pops and burbles on the overrun with this one, and it really wakes these cars up a lot, gives them an injection of character that they probably should have just had from the factory. But it's not going to be so loud that it's going to get people shaking their fist at you as you drive by. Inside of the cabin, that means you will get some additional volume as well, but as it is the case on the outside, it's not going to be too bad. It's definitely noticeable, but it doesn't produce so much volume that you won't be able to hold a conversation or listen to your favorite song. It's a good balance that will allow you to enjoy your new exhaust without feeling overwhelmed by it. And that is thanks to a couple of key features that Borla bakes into their exhaust. Now, they take great care to make sure that there is no drone at any speed in any gear at any RPM with any of their systems. And that is thanks to their unique polyphonic harmonizing technology. Now, if you've heard me talk about this stuff before, I think it's very cool. It's essentially the same type of science that goes into tuning pipe organs or wind instruments. So different lengths and types of pipe control different frequencies, and that eliminates obtrusive or dissonant sounds. Now, in this particular system, that is housed inside of these little resonators right before the mufflers. So that means you're not going to get that annoying droning noise when you're out cruising along like you might with a less expensive or less well-engineered system. And what that means is that you can still have these big suitcase-style mufflers. Now, these are chambered mufflers, so as you can hear, they've got quite a bit of resonance and there's no packing in there. So you're still gonna get that good volume, you get that great sound, but it's not gonna be over the top. Also included in this system is an X-Pipe, which is always something that's nice to see. Now, this is also gonna help combat drone by allowing exhaust gas pulses to cross over, which is again going to help eliminate unpleasant frequencies. However, X-Pipes also have the benefit of increasing exhaust gas flow with that crossover, especially at higher revs. Now, that can mean you'll gain some more power as well, because this creates a vacuum and allows the exhaust gas pulses to get pulled through there so it flows a bit better. And while we're not dyno testing this setup, the whole thing is again going to flow much better than your more restrictive factory setup. So especially if you're planning on adding other modifications in the future, this is going to help increase power and response. Now, finishing the whole thing off in this particular system are these 4-inch slash cut black chrome tips. These are obviously going to be larger than your factory tips, and the black chrome finish here adds an air of visual aggression to your build. It will just give you that little added something to tip off passersby that your car is a little bit different. However, the real clue will be when you fire it up. Now, it is again worth noting that because the factory non-active exhaust cars only have a single tip on either side, you are going to need a different rear valance in order to get these fitted. Now, of course, you can just hack up your own if you really want, but if you really want that nice, clean factory type of look, which I think you can absolutely achieve with these, you're going to want to get that quad tip valance. And we do have that available on our site, so just make sure you've got that added to your cart before you check out. When it comes to the construction, this is a very high quality system, as we've come to expect from Borla. They make all of their exhausts out of T304 stainless steel, so it's giving you about the best corrosion and rust resistance you can get. As you can see, it's also a pretty nice looking exhaust. The piping here is all 3-inch mandrel bent tubing, so there's no wrinkles or creases in the metal, meaning that your exhaust gases will flow smoothly through, again allowing your engine to breathe better than it would with the stock system. And of course, you've got the 4-inch quad slash cut black chrome exhaust tips finishing the whole thing off. Plus, as with all other Borla exhausts, they are made right here in the USA, which is just a nice little added bonus. As with any Borla or other exhaust system of this quality, this one isn't gonna come cheap. Expect to pay around $2,200, which does put this toward the upper end of the category as far as pricing goes, though it's not quite as spendy as some others. This is definitely a premium product, and thus it's going to command that premium price. But overall, I still think it represents good value for your money. You're getting a high quality system with solid construction and good features that sounds absolutely fantastic and isn't going to blow your eardrums out on a daily commute. Coming in at a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, this is a job that you can definitely accomplish at home with a little bit of time. Expect to spend around 2 hours getting this fitted. Now, it is going to be a fully bolt-on system. It's going to utilize all your factory exhaust hanger locations, and it comes with everything you need to get it installed. Again, you're going to need to swap out that rear valence in order to have those quad tips sit exactly where they're supposed to. Again, you're going to need that new valence in order to fit the quad tips, but everything goes together pretty quickly and easily, and it's only a couple of pieces, which makes it a pretty straightforward job. We're also going to walk you through the entire process right now, so for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you need a 3/8 impact and ratchet, 3/8 extension, 15 and 13 millimeter swivel socket, a hammer, pry bar, exhaust hanger tool, and also not shown to be a lift and pole jacks. All right, today we're going to be installing an exhaust on our Mustang, but first we're going to watch a quick video how to uninstall the stock system, then we'll come back here to install the new one. Now, one thing to note, we are going from a single tip to a dual tip exhaust, so we do have our MP Concepts Dark Horse style rear diffuser on. You would need to do that if you're switching from a single to a dual also. But now, let's get into it.
So the first thing we're going to do is come to the double flange behind our cat. We have 4 15 millimeter bolts that we can loosen up with a 15 millimeter socket. Now we're going to leave this just like that for now as we work on the rest. One thing to keep in mind is when we go to pull this off, this little hook is keeping this on, so you're going to have to get a flathead screwdriver to pull back on that on both sides when we go to remove it. Next, we can come right behind our rear diff to this hanger. There's one on each side of this bracket. There's a 13 millimeter bolt holding it on. So I've got a 13 millimeter swivel socket on an extension to pop this off. And now we'll just come to the other side and do the same exact thing. And now with them both removed, you can push up to get those hangers off the hooks. And do that same thing on the other side. Now, last thing we need to do before we can remove this is remove these 2 bolts that were on the inside of those 2 hangers behind the rear diff. So I'm using that same 13 millimeter socket with an extension. Now with those removed, we can push it up off the hook and pull that down to get the clearance we need. So now I've got myself a buddy to support the weight of the rear of the exhaust while I work on the front. We're going to push this towards the rear to disconnect these 2 pipes, and then we can pull it forward to pull it out of the back hangers. So now with our exhaust removed, we can take an exhaust hanger remover tool to pop off these 2 hangers because we will have to reuse them for our new exhaust. Now, last thing we need to pop off is our 2 clamps that are at the front of the exhaust. You can take a rubber mallet and get the edge of a pry bar on the edge of the clamp to tap these off.
So we're going to start off up here in the front. We're going to put our factory clamps back on. Just slide them over. Make sure you line up with the tabs on the pipe. And then we have our front adapters. They just slide simply into our front clamps. Grab 2 of your supply clamps, rest them over for now. Then we can slide our X pipe on. We have our slits, they'll go over our extension. Just like so. So now we're going to continue on with our axle pipe. We have one of our hangers that we're just going to slide over. Now from here on, it is the same for both sides. I have one of our clamps. We're gonna slide it over our X-pipe. And we can actually just hook this right into our subframe and let that hang up there for now. Next, we have our muffler. Once again, another clamp just resting over there. We're gonna get it up into our hanger in the car. And then into our axle pipe. I'm actually just gonna bring a pull jack over just to help hold everything up in place. Now you can go ahead and repeat the same steps for the other side, and we'll come back and tighten everything up. So we're gonna start off tightening our clamps working forward to the back of the car. We're gonna start with our factory clamps. Now all of our clamps are 15mm hardware, so we have our impact and 15mm socket. Now we have the front of our X-pipe. Before you tighten these down, just make sure your X-pipe is level. And go ahead and tighten these. Next, we have our two clamps after our X-pipe, same thing, impact and 15mm socket. Our last two clamps are at our mufflers. As you can see, I do have pull jacks holding everything up level to where they need to be adjusted to, and we're gonna tighten these two clamps down. Last thing we need to do is put our hanger bolts in and our cover bolts. So we're just gonna get everything threaded in first. All right, and we'll get our cover locked in our subframe here and thread in our two bolts. Then we're gonna grab our ratchet, extension, and 13mm swivel socket and tighten this all down. And that wraps up our install of our Borla S-Type catback exhaust with quad black chrome tips for our 2024 and newer Mustang GT Fastback without active exhaust. And remember, for everything Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.